אתם כיתות ו', נכון? מציגות מה?
Story report, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and Dark Darts by Rachel Rainey Russell and Treasure Island.
חזר, מי הילדים האלה?
ילדות של כיתה ו', א' וב', בית ספר דלי א', לירז נסרדין, נור חלבי, גנווה חסון. ילדות מקסימות ברמה גבוהה באנגלית. עוד מעט יציגו את המצגות שלהם ואז נראה אותם איך מתייחסים.
הם מציגים לפי מה שאני מבין פה באורך חיים של היום-יום שלנו.
לא, בעיקר אם כל אחד לקח סיפור מעניין, סיפור, והוא קרא את זה, עשה על זה ניתוח ספר, כתב מכתב לסופר, כתב אוצר מילים שלמד. עשו את זה בצורה מעניינת וכיפית. והם גם המליצו לאחרים לקרוא את הספר מרוב התעניינות.
שיהיה לכם בהצלחה.
So we'll start with Razak.
Present.
Please sit down. Step aside.
Good morning, Ani Razak. The Prince and the Pauper. Our story talks about two boys. The first one is Tom. Tom is poor and lives with kind mother and cruel father. And the second one is Edward. Edward is prince and lives in a palace. One day, Edward and Tom meet. They look the same. They decide to switch. Edward becomes Tom and Tom becomes Edward. And Tom becomes Edward. Then the adventures start. Tom lives in the palace. Tom doesn't know how a prince should behave, so it's a problem. Edward also faces a problem. He says, I am a prince. I don't ask people for money and food. At the end of the story, they meet again. And Edward returns a prince and Tom the poor boy. But Edward and Tom are still friends. Edward gives Tom and his mother a new house. My name is Layla. The Big Bang. Once upon a time there was... The Big Bang. Once upon a time there was a mother. She had 7 little boys. And they always hungry. One day, 7 little boys said, Mom, we're hungry. You've just had your breakfast, laughed the mother. What am I going to do with you? But if you are very good little boys and promise to do the washing up, I'll make you the biggest pancake you've ever seen, and you can help. So, the 7 little boys and their mother make a pancake. She tossed them into the air. She tossed it into the air, but it rolled out of the door. The 7 little boys and their mother ran after the pancake. The pancake passed a man, a cow, a cat, and a duck. Stop, said everyone. I don't want to be eaten, said the pancake and kept running. The pancake met a pig and asked him to help her cross the river. The pancake, climbed in his nose. The pig gave a chuckle and threw into his mouth. The man, mother, 7 little boys, cow, cat, and the cat came running. Did you see the big pancake? The pig asked them. Was it big? Yes. Was it golden brown? Yes. It was delicious.
There was a mountain called White Mountain. There was a village near it. Every mountain climber tries to climb the mountain, and an accident happened to him. Ricky wanted to climb White Mountain, but his sister Sandy told him this is dangerous. Ricky and Sandy had 2 friends, Janet and Peter. They were brother and sister. There was Mr. Noble's shop in the village. One morning, Ricky had a chat with Mr. Noble. Mr. Noble asked Ricky, "Where are you going today?" Ricky told him he is going to White Mountain. But Mr. Noble was very angry and told him, "Don't go there." But Ricky wasn't going to White Mountain, it was a joke. In the night in the hotel, Ricky heard a sound from out the window. He saw a stone and near it a note said, Don't go to White Mountain. Don't call the police. I won't tell you again. Then Ricky decided to climb White Mountain. In the next morning, Ricky and his sister went to Mr. Noble's shop to buy some food. When they arrived to Dark Forest, they felt someone is following them. When they went to White Mountain, the rocks started to fall, so they went back home. They and their friends were sitting in the hotel lobby. Ricky and Sandy told their friends what happened. Janet told them that Mr. Noble wasn't in his shop today. There was a sign says, "I'm ill today." So they had a plan to Janet tell Mr. Noble they are in Mount James, but they go to White Mountain. In the next morning, Janet told Mr. Noble, and she watched his shop all day. And then she went back to the hotel. The children at the mountain saw an airplane with a name William Green. They phoned Janet and told her to search in the hotel computer about William Green. She found out he's a pilot who was in an airplane crash on a mountain. Janet told her father, so her father called the police. The police and Janet's father went to Mr. Noble's shop, but he wasn't there. The children in the mountain woke up with their hands tied, and they saw Mr. Noble next to them with a gun. He said his real name is William Green, and he was with another pilot who died in the crash. They arrested Mr. Noble, and the police found $2 million in Mr. Noble's shop, and the children became heroes. The end. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I want to thank my mom. She helped me out my project.
My name is Karen Halabi. I am in 6th grade from Daliabi School. I want to tell you about the story I read, Puss in Boots. The story talks about an orphan master. He has no home, but he has a puss. The puss wants to help his master. He asks his master to buy him boots and bag. The puss sets a plan to get his master home and money. First, he puts some courage in the bag to catch rabbit. Then he presents the rabbit to the king. He says, "It is a present from Master of Carabas." Second, he puts some corn in the bag to catch partridges. He gives the partridges to the king. The king is very happy. Third, he asked to the master to get into the water. Then he asked the king to help his master. The king's men save him and give him new clothes. Lastly, the puss goes to the ogre's palace, and the puss says, "I heard you can change into different animal." The ogre says, "Of course." Then he changes into a mouse. The puss eats it. The king comes and the puss says, "Welcome into the master's home." At the end, the master marries the king's daughter, and they live happily ever after. Thank you for listening. I hope you like it.
From Daliabi School from the 6th grade. The name of my story is The Wizard of Oz. The story talks about a girl called Dorothy. Dorothy is at home playing with her little dog. She sees a sack of cum. Like here.
Okay.
So she picks up her little dog and takes him into the house. Dorothy's house comes down in a strange land. A good witch comes to see Dorothy. She thanks her for killing the witch and gives her a magic shoes. But Dorothy wants to come home, so she picks up her little dog and goes to Oz to help her. On the way to the Emerald City, she meets a scarecrow, a tin woodman, and a man. When they arrive to the Emerald City, Oz says that there is one more wicked witch. They have to kill her, and he will give them all the things that they want. Dorothy kills the wicked witch, and he gives the scarecrow a brain, the tin woodman a heart, and the lion a carrot. And Dorothy discovered that her magic shoes can fly, so she flies home. This is the end of the story. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is I am in the 6th grade from Austria A School. I read Alice in Wonderland. It is an interesting story. It has many characters, and I found important characters. For example, Alice, the sister, the rabbit hole, white rabbit, caterpillar, and the twins, the queen, and the army playing cards. Now I will show you my summary. Alice in Wonderland summary. Alice is chasing the white rabbit who runs. Alice falls down into the world of Wonderland. She goes and checks after following the instructions. Haiti caterpillar. Alice goes on a strange journey and meets many things and many people. She meets the Queen of Hearts and her army playing cards. Alice has a big fight with the Queen. And she wants to cut her head. Alice runs away and then she opened her eyes and found it all was a dream and she was sleeping near her sister in the garden. The end.
Hello, my name is Dunya. I am 6th grade in school Sophia A. This is my model. I read the story of the Lion and the Mouse. This is very interesting story that I learned from it a lot. I will show you my story in my summary. The Lion and the Mouse. A small mouse falls on the lion's head and scratches his nose while sleeping. The lion gets very angry and roars loudly. The mouse gets very scared and begs the lion not to eat him. He promises to help the king of animals one day. The lion laughs and thinks how a small mouse can help a big lion. After a few weeks, the lion is trapped in hunter's net. He starts to roar asking for help. The mouse hears him and comes for his help. He starts to cut the ropes with his sharp little teeth and sets the lion free again. The lion thanks the mouse and understands that small creatures can help anytime a big one. The end.
My name is Maisan. The title of the story of Rapunzel, the story about Rapunzel. Rapunzel is a very beautiful girl. She had the longest and most beautiful hair in the world. She was kept in the high tower with no doors by the bad witch. A brave prince came and saved Rapunzel, and at the end they got married.
And you have here the illustration of the story, yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
And the Hurricane. The story Hannah and the Hurricane talked about a 16-year-old girl named Hannah. She lived on an island. While she was on holiday, she worked for little money on a glass bottom boat with Mr. Duval. People stopped coming to Mr. Duval's boat and started using Max Market boat because it was cheaper. Max Market is a rich bad man who tried to stop Mr. Duval's boat. One day, a strong storm started in the island, a hurricane. It pulled trees and they crashed down on the houses. When it stopped, Hannah went to Max Market to speak with him. She found Max crying because the roof fell on top of him. She helped him and saved his life. Max wanted to give her a gift but she didn't want anything from him. She only asked him to stop his nasty games with Mr. Duval. He wanted to pay her money for saving his life. Hannah told him that money is not everything.
Fantastic.
My story is the Titanic. The Titanic is an exciting story about an amazing new ship in the world that has ever seen. The Titanic was sailing from England to America with a huge number of people. The Titanic was the safest ship as newspaper wrote about it. Newspaper called it the Wonder Ship. It was just a floating palace which has everything on it. On the first trip across the ocean, something terrible happened. It was sailing on icy water near Canada. The Titanic hurt badly. The captain now is going to sink. 2,227 people died because there were not enough lifeboats for everyone. And the world will never forget the amazing ship Titanic.
Yeah, good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I
introduce for you the ugly duckling. My story talks about a little ugly duckling that was born to a yellow duck family. Now I'll tell you the story. Once upon a time, there was this duck waiting for her eggs to hatch. And suddenly, each one hatched out of their eggs, except the ugly duckling. Nobody liked him. Everybody was teasing him, and they were saying that he was an ugly duckling. He looked into the water and saw his reflection, and said, "Oh, I'm so ugly." So he runs away, and he's like, so he runs away, and nobody liked him. Everybody around him was teasing him and saying that he's such an ugly duckling. So a farmer found him and took him to his kids. His kids were too rough, so he ran away again. So he kept traveling and continuing to find a shelter. Suddenly, he turned into a beautiful swan. And then two swans found him, and they said, "Would you like to join us, to live with us?" And he said, "Okay." And they lived happily ever after.
Hi, my name is Rumi Kharman. I am in 6th grade. I learn in Farouk School. I live in Austria. I will tell you about a story that calls The Father and His Sons. There is a country far away where three brothers live together with their father. They always fighting. They can't just play or talk. Jason, the oldest one, thinks he's the best. David, the middle one, shouts all day. Andrew, the little one, always complains. Their father feels sad, but he tried to stop their bad habits, but he can't. One day the father takes a bundle of sticks and calls his sons and tells them to try to snap the bundle. All want take turn, but nobody can. Then the father gives them one short stick to break. They succeed, and it was easy. Then the father tells them that the sticks like them. When they are together, they are strong, but when they fighting, they aren't strong. They better as three, but weaker as one.
Sarah, I'm 12 years old. I learn in Farouk School. I'm the 6th grade. I'll tell you about my story. My story is called Swan Lake, بحيرة البجع in Arabic. The Swan Lake. Once upon a time, there was a very sad prince called Zikfur. He felt sadly after the death of his father. He used to go to the lake near the palace. Here is the lake and here is the palace. One day he saw a very nice swan with a crown on his head. Here is the swan and here is the crown. But he couldn't touch it because it disappeared. Every time he got close to it. One day he followed the swan and he discovered that the beautiful swan is a nice princess, which the wizard turned her into a swan because she refused to marry him. The prince brought his sword and killed the wizard. Then the skull was broken when he died. And later the prince and the princess got married in a very big party. They told everyone that marriage is a wonderful thing. The end.
Hi, my name is Shireen Harabi. I learn in Hatchery School, and I read the story The Secret Garden. My story talks about a little girl named Mary Lennox. She was a spoiled rich girl who always gets everything she wants. But after her parents died, she moved from India to England to live with her uncle. At first, she thought that no one liked her, and she didn't like the place. But in a few days, she found out about the secret garden. And there, she planted flowers, and she made the garden look beautiful again. She also found out about her cousin that they hid from her. He was sick and he couldn't walk. Mary encouraged him and told him that he can walk and he is not sick. She took him to the garden. There they play, and she taught him how to stand and walk. When her uncle came back, he was proud of her and he was proud of his son, and he liked Mary, and she lived with them happily.
My name is Waad Harib. I'm from Hatchery School, Dalit Carmel in 6th grade. My name of my story is Sleeping Beauty. The characters of my story are the king, the queen, the princess, the witch, the fairies, and the prince. The story talks about a little princess who was born to a good king and queen.
Suddenly, a witch came to the palace and told them that when the little princess becomes 15 years old, she will touch a spinning wheel and will fall asleep forever. The king and the queen became very sad. They gave the princess to the good fairies to hide her from the witch. But of her 15th birthday, the princess was walking in the wood. She saw a palace and went into it and saw a spinning wheel and touched it, so she fell asleep. However, the handsome prince came and killed the witch and saved the princess. So they lived happily ever after.
Chinese school, 6th grade. I would like to tell you about my story. My story talks about a little girl that moved from the Swiss Alps to the city to live with another girl named Clara. Clara was sitting on a wheelchair and she can't walk. Clara and Heidi became good friends, but Heidi didn't like the city. So Clara's father decided to take Heidi home. One month, Clara came and visited Heidi. They played all the time and didn't stop. Heidi's friend Peter didn't like Clara, and he threw the wheelchair on the mountain and the wheelchair broke. So Heidi decided to teach Clara how to stand and walk. And in the end, Clara started walking. And 1 month later, Clara's father sent a bag with money to thank Heidi because she helped Clara, and they lived happily ever after.